Gloria. Looks idyllic, don't it? As long as I can remember, I always wanted to be a hero. To me, being a hero and traveling around was better than being the king of Kamatchkalan. A hero is somebody in a city full of nobodies. And that brings me to the crew. There was Neris and Shield, and then there was Elvira and Sai. Then you had Naime and Suda. You see, Neris, the druid. Neris, she'd heal up a friend or rain down destruction on an enemy. And Shield, the barbarian, he might have moved slow, but only because Shield didn't have to move for nobody. And Elvira, for somebody who eats bugs and lives in a tree, boy, is that bird a firebug. And then Sai, whose name is unpronounceable. The best anyone can do is sigh like the rustling of leaves in a summer breeze. And then you have Naime. Unless things get serious, then you might get Suda. And most people don't live long enough to talk about Suda. And anyway, snitches get stitches. So that's the crew. And this is Kamatchkalan Chronicles. Welcome back. It's Thursday night. It is Heroes and Hooligans. It's Kamatchkalan Chronicles. We're back with the crew. We've got Naime and Suda and Elvira and Shield. Hey, folks. Oh, wait. Here comes Sai. So that's the crew. And anyway, take it away, crew.
What's going on?
I believe we were resting for the evening. I think that is taking a shift late at night to watch over the camp. And sits apart, pulls out a ball of string and a hook, begins to work it into some sort of lace as she sits there.
I think normally Elvira would nest in like cypress branches for a long rest, but given the ability for Sai to tap into the mycelium network and us being in a bunch of bigger trees, I think I would go up and like to the top of one of the taller trees, but nothing that like would put my white feathers at risk of being seen from something bigger flying by, maybe. But just to be able to kind of like look out over, kind of keep an eye, more of a nocturnal individual anyway. So nighttime is my time to flourish. Plus, nobody can judge me in the trees playing with my cards if they can't see me in the trees playing with my cards.
Shield's a military lad, so if Naime is going to go off and, watch one kind of hemisphere of the camp, if you will, Shield will kind of decide to post up on the other side of camp, make sure that, two of the biggest lads are taking the brunt of anything that would come in the night. And he's going to kind of just post up, lean against whatever tree he can, and contemplate the vigilance of his god.
Okay, you are in the grove. You are surrounded by the feelings and thoughts. And occasionally you hear the odd howl of a wolf. You hear the odd sound of a boar baby boar, middling boar. No more thunder boar. Birds, rustling leaves. You were in the grove. What Sai, what's going through Sai's mind in the grove here?
I am of two minds. I am a fast processor for a tree, but only now is it dawning on Sai that I seem to have insulted Naime a few weeks ago. And so I will walk over to Naime, or Suda, whichever we currently are talking to, but I don't know the difference, because all of my insight checks at these times have been shit. And I will say, Naime, I believe that my words did not land as intended. When you asked about my pacifism,
She looks up from her lacework. Oh? What did I say?
well, I explained that I have skills, and that my skills were trained and that I used them in your defense, despite my pacifism, because Elvira has decided that you are my friends. I am. I, I do not disagree with her choices. It's just that she typically makes these decisions. My social life is not a thing that I really. Until today, I have always been very disconnected from others, and if I didn't like the choices Elvira made, I would leave. I don't not want to defend you. I just didn't decide to go in that bar.
You don't, excuse me, you don't have to worry about anything. I'm not offended. And you have the right to your own choices, you know. You don't need to let that, albeit gorgeous owl lady person, to dictate who your friends are.
It is mostly that the world moves very fast, and by the time I have made a choice, typically things have moved on.
Hmm.
And so Elvira's better at keeping up. If I just follow her, I get left behind less. I am very fast for a tree, but I am a tree.
I can't, well, I think I can imagine how frustrating and isolating that can be, to be carried on the whims of others, especially at a speed that you're not comfortable with. Go ahead.
No, please. I was going to say I've learned to trust Elvira's choices. Previously, I was with a druid who made choices I did not like, and that is why I left.
I think you and I are in somewhat of a similar situation. So she's gonna hate me for saying this, but I am not Naime.
I'm gonna kind of twist my trunk awkwardly, looking around. I I am confused. I thought that was the name you told us to use.
Yes, that is the name that usually comes with this body, but I am her sister, Suda. We share a body, if you will.
Is that typical for sisters?
No, we're a special case.
I will have to tell Naime as well then. I do like both of you, though.
Oh, she can hear you. She's just not in the driver's seat right now, as it were. But we are in a similar situation. I guess in a way, Suda is like you, kind of tossed along the rapids in a vessel or an environment where we don't have the time or the ability to make our choices for ourselves. So we have to trust in someone else. I have to trust in Naime to make the best decisions, as she tends to be in control most of the time.
How do you come to the surface?
We're still figuring it out, but times of stress, say in combat, tend to force me to the front. Sometimes when I hear a lovely piece of music, that will coax me forward.
Music
Or
is
if
powerful.
it is, or if there are romantic gestures, maybe.
I do not understand romance.
It is something that is unique to the animal world, I suppose.
Well, if you ever decide that you don't like Naime's choices and you need help to leave, let me know. I will find a way. Because it is okay for people to make your choices as long as you eventually can make up your mind.
We have been looking for a solution to that very problem for a very long time.
I could try just hitting Naime on the head when she makes bad choices. You mentioned battle being one trigger.
You know, maybe, maybe that would work. But I think just a nice, beautiful piece of music would do.
I
And
have
don't let her cover her ears. She likes to do that.
noted. I also. Is she allergic to pollen? I have been told that pollen can be very stressful.
Not to my knowledge. She was always the outdoorsy one.
Fair, and I can only produce pollen at certain seasons. Well,
Yeah.
like I said, and I'm glad Naime could hear me, because I was not trying to insult, just explain how while I am a pacifist, I will use the skills the druid gave me, just not to overthrow gardeners.
Of course. And thank you for your kindness and for considering us friends, at least by now, I hope.
I do.
Good. Because I think we have mutual feelings.
Yes. I like how slowly you speak. It makes more sense that way.
I am putting in a effort so that we can better relate.
If you will excuse me, I have some questions for these trees.
Oh, Please, by all means.
Yes, young one.
I do not understand why I can hear you so well. We are not in the Feywild, but your roots make sense to me. Your mushrooms talk to mine.
Yes.
That is not normal. It is typically very difficult to connect mushrooms.
Yes, that's true in most places. But over eons, we have created a soft and supple loam so that our network is undisturbed.
That is fantastic, but I mean more than that.
Yes.
I have tried to connect with trees in several parts of this land, and it's almost like they speak a different language.
Well, that is interesting. Tell me more.
Your spores are my spores.
Yes.
Do you share spores with other trees besides this grove?
We must. Of course we must. But the farther they get from the grove, the less they remember. Perhaps they are too far from home.
I have always had my own spores to myself to share.
Yes. But you are a willow, of course. A willow needs water and sun and room to bask in them.
Oh, of course, I have connected with willows in other places, and it was not like this.
Yes,
I mean, clearly they made more sense than pine trees. Pine trees speak with a very thick accent.
it is. It's the sap, of course.
The sap, I thought it was the needles rustling, but the
Ah,
sap makes more sense.
yes. The piney sap. And of course, every spruce thinks it's a sequoia. Ha, 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 ha.
That is a funny one. I do not mean to be rude, but I have been thinking, did a man ever come here?
We have had the odd traveler. Yes.
One with a shovel?
Oh, dastardly things. Shovels.
Well, yes, but you see, I was harvested from somewhere, and the level of connection between our spores, I can't help but wonder if this is where I was dug up. Did a traveler ever come with a shovel and take a sprout?
Oh, every so often, someone deemed worthy may come. We do not take these things lightly. We hope that the sprouts and the saplings and the cuttings are treated well. It seems that you were cared for.
The one with the curly red beard.
Oh,
He
yes, it
smells.
seems like just yesterday.
Well, I
must have
believe
been-
it was only about 7 years ago.
Yes, just 7 winters ago.
Yes. He smelled of berries.
And cinnamon.
Yes.
Yes, that's the chap.
So this is my home. Interesting.
Of course.
That makes you my family.
Yes, extended, for I am an oak, and you are a willow.
He did mention that, and the druid as well. They said I'm good for whipping things.
Willow are good for a great many things.
What are
Willow
oaks for?
can protect from floods, protect other trees from the flooding. Willow can create massive shade for their siblings and other trees. Willow are windbreaks that protect other trees from the wind. Willow are flexible. Willow are proud trees.
Is the willow that dropped me here?
Oh, well, you would have to see. That's uh, getting uncomfortable. You should see for yourself down by the lake shore.
I understand. Well, since we are family, if ever I am not ready to permanently root, but if you need anything, send a mushroom. I can bring more humanoids and we can kill more boar.
The boar are a problem, but take care of the wolves. The wolves will take care of the deer and the boar for us.
Yes, uncle.
The wolves are not the enemy.
Is something hurting the wolves?
The leggy ones. They
Yeah,
don't like the wolves.
they frequently get confused about the enemy.
Yes.
Thank you. I will try to help. Again, if ever there is need. I root when I can and would get the message.
Very good. Mm, it's so good to see you thriving.
It is remarkably comfortable to be in a place that smells so vibrant.
Yes, it's got just the right compound of compost and rot, doesn't it?
It is so very spongy.
It's positively mossy.
And at that, I think I will fall into a comfortable silence and move at the speed of a tree for the evening.
Okay. Morning comes, uneventful. Other than that, morning comes. You've all gotten a long rest. You've collected your pelt, your thunderboar pelt, which at some point can be worked into leather or hide armor. So when you find an armor, you'll be able to make that. And morning has dawned.
Yeah, so very bright and early after taking just some sleep time before I will be awake and vibrating with excitement, flapping my wings about, trying to get everybody else up without like waking them up, like going and shaking them, you know. So, you know, banging pans on my bag around, poking, you know, the warmness of if we had a fire. I can't remember if anybody built one or not. Wasn't paying attention. I was up in the trees. I will sing while I'm by Naime. I'll sing a gentle song, and I'm sure it will irritate. I'll make sure I'm out of Blade's reach when I'm singing because I stabbed and turned into a chicken dinner.
Blasted bird.
As
I
you
already
begin,
feel like I got run over by a warthog. I don't need a splitting headache on top of it.
You know what they say about getting run over by a warthog, right? Hakuna Matata. I don't know who says it. Somebody
I
does.
don't even know what language that is. I'm. Who's got breakfast?
you begin to light the fire. Sai is just going to kind of like reach a branch down and start shoveling dirt over the flames as you try to build them. You may not burn my family home.
Cold
Okay.
rations it is.
Yeah, I'm not really. All right, cold it is.
We're getting it on the road. It'll work.
Well, so we came to this grove because it was like a shortcut through the way we were going, or whatever, came this way. And we're looking for these dragon bones, but we haven't seen any dragon bones or anything of the sort.
I don't
in
think
the
that
right
we've
direction.
actually. I don't think that we've actually gotten to that battle site.
Yes, as we get closer to Heraldus Lake, maybe we'll find more evidence.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, you know, out here in the backcountry and all, it feels nice. Camping under the stars with my friends, having breakfast. Some places they drink dirty bean water, but I don't know if that's socially acceptable here. I don't know. I have something you can have to drink if you want.
What?
I will just hand you my water skin.
Oh, thanks, but I've already got one.
No. Hand you my water skin.
Look at it suspiciously.
Take a
Take
drink.
a small sip.
Yeah, it's fermented goat's milk.
Ah,
What the nine hells?
Shield
Well-
will Shield will swipe the water skin and take a glug as well.
Yes. I'll take a breakfast swig too. Well, so in one of my travels,
Ugh.
along my travels, we stopped at a land. And when we stopped at the land, they didn't drink ale or anything like that because they just didn't have access to it. It was, you know, far away from a trade route, all of that yada jazz. And they had yaks and goats and sheep. So they would ferment the milk with herbs and spices and other things. And that's what they did around the fire at night. You drink enough of it and you feel like you're about 3 bottles of wine deep. And you go off into a nice slumber. Heartburn in the morning, maybe, but if you can get past the aftertaste and the sulfur eggy smell at the very beginning front note, it's great.
The horrid taste wakes you up in the morning. It actually works very well when you don't have much time to eat.
Yeah, that it does. Whew.
There's also some salt you could try if you have difficulty waking up, though that one might be more difficult to get a hold of.
Thank you, Elvira.
I believe there is a salt lick used by sheep and elk on the way to the lake. If you want to go licking rocks.
I fear there may be a slight misunderstanding. You actually crush the salt and inhale it. It's a little bit of a different salt.
Indeed, I have never seen them inhaling it.
Back where I'm from, they're called smelling salts.
Oh, for the fainting ladies.
Yes, exactly. Or anyone who faints, I guess.
Why would anybody sniff salt? Have you ever sniffed pepper? It makes you sneeze.
Well, it's
I think
supposed
that's
to
the
wake
point.
up the fainting ladies. Perhaps we should try some with the goats. I understand they faint.
Fainting ladies, fainting goats, don't know where the dragon bones are, and you didn't want to drink my goat's milk. Great start to the morning. Typical friendly business. Yeah. Huzzah! Breakfast and shit.
Well, I did thank you.
You did say thank you. Are you sick? Did you hit your head in battle again?
That trauma appears to be an issue for you. Perhaps we should get you a helmet.
Oh no, I believe she's okay.
Maybe if I had slept under the blankets last night, I wouldn't have been catching a cold.
You know, I don't know. I don't really like sleeping under the blankets. It just makes my feathers too warm and they get kind of stuck in it. And then I get to plucking them out of the blanket. And sometimes I start pulling. And then sometimes there's extra feathers. And I'm really why there's more feathers than what I felt like I pulled out. And I just really don't like blankets that much. It's really restricting and really very binding. It's not good for flying. And they just get you down really heavily. And have you ever sweated with feathers on? Do you know what it's like to sweat with feathers on? I don't either, but it would be an interesting concept. Blankets just are hot.
So, Shield, do you want to lead the way?
All right, you head towards Heraldus Lake, and as you leave the grove, you start to wind your way through that forest that is just completely alive down towards the lake, and as you go over a ridge, you begin to see the tops of the mountains in the distance, and you approach the lake. So let's do it like this. Why don't we approach the lake, and you get down to the area that you were told about, the drunken forest on the edge of the lake. You see that this side of the lake, there seems to be just it's not mossy, definitely not mossy. It's not spongy. It is definitely soggy. And you see trees that have just sort of toppled over with the combination of wind and it looks like regular flooding and or thawing, and these trees are just not able to keep rooted in the ground, and they fall over. Now, as you get down there, you will see a few things. One, you will see evidence of some trees that have certainly been removed. You will see some evidence of habitation by some sort of organized creatures. And you will see a ridge line that looks familiar to the story that you were told in the Sea Dragon Inn by Frederick, who was murdered shortly after that story. Who wants to recap that story? Give the broad highlights of that.
Frederick's story or the little story that he told?
Give us whatever you'd like.
Okay. Well, according to Frederick's Bard's Tale, and it was a really stretched out Bard's Tale. And I know what a stretched out Bard's Tale is like because I, in fact, am a bard. You could call me a minstrel as well if you like. I prefer to be called
Troubadour?
the only Owlvira Binks. But still, aside from that, yeah, it was a really lengthy tale about how he just killed this dragon and his poor, terrible adventuring party all got dead, and he slayed the dragon all by himself, and he brought a scale back. And then he came back and was telling everybody about it. And then apparently that was like a lie. His friends didn't really die. And he got dead and then got alive again, but not like really alive, like revenantly alive, if you know what I'm saying. And when he got alive the second time, we made sure he got dead because he was really crazy and had these like really crazy psycho eyes. It was just not an exciting experience. We were at an inn to relax, not get beat up by a should have been dead man. But so we got him dead again, and then his friend told us some stuff, and then we went to this place and got some more information, and it got us a map to here, and now we're here, and that's the story.
So, Naime, did Elvira miss anything on that?
In brief, nope, that would about wrapped it up.
Shield? Thoughts?
Yeah, from what I can tell, she's pretty much got the right of it.
All right.
Now we just gotta try to find that battlefield.
Sai?
That is the fast version of the tale.
If you were to add a detail, what would it be?
That someone carved hero in his back, and that we haven't yet found his blade.
Right. So what did you find?
His armor.
Mm-hmm.
And a song that I am thinking is about an ocean creature. And I am very sad about these trees that are... It's not their fault the ground is melting. Elvira, do dragons melt the ground?
Well, according to the book by Hatem Abashusha, depending on what kind of dragon it is, depends on what kind of layer it creates. So, say it's a red dragon, they prefer a more hot, rocky, lava-like climate, but then you would think of somebody like a green dragon that would live in a thick, woody, forest, very dense, possibly marshy, if they wanted it to be, of course. It just really depends on the type of dragon, type of layer they live in. According to my song that I was writing about Frederick being a hack, he does take trophies, and he took a silver scale. So a silver scale would come from a silver dragon, and according to Hatem Abashusha, chromatic dragons tend to be more on the evil side, while metallic dragons tend to be a little bit nicer, but that's just speculation because all dragons think that they're the best, and that mortals suck. So it could be a silver dragon that is in this area, but silver dragons don't like mushy, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm correct in remembering, I don't have my book handy, but if I'm not mistaken, silver dragons like the cold stuff too, right? So they wouldn't really be making the ground mushy if it was that dragon.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think it was a gold scale.
Also, as long as we are adding details, I would like to remind that the dragon, or whatever beast it was, did hiss at Frederick and his party about lands older than memory. Almost like it was guarding something, but
You have a good memory for that.
You said it was a gold scale? I thought it was a silver.
Are these lands older than trees?
Great segue. All right, you move your way as you discuss the stories. Was it a gold scale? Was it a silver scale? What did Frederick flash?
Thought it was bronze.
Was it bronze? Was it gold? Was it silver? Was it bronze?
Well, if it was silver, then it wouldn't be melting the lands. But if it was gold or bronze, on the other hand, possibly even so.
You work your way up to that ridge / cliff that you heard about in the story. If you recall, Genly was the first to fall. Frozen, petrified, rolling down and off the cliff. Genly, you found battered, bruised, broken, but not dead in the inn. Genly said that Frederick was indeed a coward in this battle. And you start to approach up that cliff that looks familiar from what you were told. And you get up there, and what you see is not at all what you expect. The setting, similar, absolutely similar. Tall trees clinging onto the side of a hill. All of that is true. And you start to see, the first thing you see is there are definitely signs of a battle. There are definitely disturbance in the ground. And you start to see things that shine a little bit, glint perhaps, in the sunshine. Still a bit of ways. You're 80 feet or so, and you start to catch the odd glint, the odd shine.
Look, there be treasure. And Naime is going to head toward the glinting.
I don't suggest it. If you ever listen to me, just do it this time.
What?
Dragons and their tiny stuff. If we're in a dragon's lair, and I really do like dragons a lot, but can you see how big I am? a little bit bigger than an actual chicken. I would be a toothpick of a snack for a dragon if you touched its shiny hoard. And today is not the day where I become barbecue, wings, or a side to some fried pickles. It's not today, please, friend.
Is
I
it
don't. I,
bones
I
or is it scales? Can you look closer?
I
Okay.
can fly.
Are you going to
it's-
just walk up boldly?
I'm going to look, Elvira. I will scout it out. How about that?
Shield is going to keep his
I'm not
head
gonna
on a
touch
swivel while all this is going on, by the way.
I
Are
will.
we
I will
scouting?
send my image ahead to see what it looks like.
Okay. Go ahead and make a stealth check.
Sure.
Tell her to be careful.
And Naime kind of looks at Sai. What? But doesn't bring up the issue currently. Oh, I have to roll with disadvantage. Yay! Oh, 4.
Okay. So you can see through this echo? Familiar
Yes. Yeah.
type? Okay.
Yeah.
So
I can technically trade places with it, so and attack from it.
okay. So shaky cam style.
Shaky cam.
A stumble here and there. And you come up and you start to see a glimmer, a glint. And then can you smell?
I'm gonna say no. Probably
No.
not.
Okay. So a glimmer, a glint. Can you hear?
Yes.
You hear sounds of the forest. No other sound at all. And you start to see some sort of shimmery, but faded. It's weathered, but it seemed to have been shimmery at some point. Almost a foil type. Foil slash maybe foil woven into a cloth, here and there tattered and ripped, and then a glimmer and a glint from a perhaps a dagger that is starting to rust, and then another, and then maybe a crude axe. Perhaps that's an axe that you see over there 10 feet away from that, and more tattered shimmery style clothing. And slowly you start to emerge on the scene of what would be very generously described as a battle scene, but I think more accurately would be described as a massacre scene. And everyone is these are corpses. These are rotting, decaying corpses that have been there for probably a week or two. There is a short sword here, a dagger there. No real signs of any real armor. So that's what your visage sees so far.
Okay. Just as a reminder, I have to stay within 30 feet of it, so
So you're now within 30 feet.
Of the scene.
Within 30 feet, you can smell the rotting corpses.
Can I perceive any threats?
Sure. Go ahead and make a investigation or perception roll.
Okay. Ooh. 20. 30.
Yeah, there's no threats.
Okay. I will Seeing
no-
that the area is relatively safe, I'll just give a whistle and summon the group ahead.
All right, the rest of you are hit with the smell of the rotting corpses, and you come along to the scene of the quote unquote battle. Shield, you notice a few things. You notice a campfire. You've been out in the backcountry before. You notice some shelters that are pretty well camouflaged, but were built. This almost seems like it's a small, not village, but a small little outpost, where maybe a hunting outpost or something like that. Maybe an overlook. You have a great view of the lake from here. You can see miles down the lake. But sort of these shelters are built using branches, and they're pretty good for a quick shelter that you can throw up. They're certainly not permanent, and you see about 4 or 5 of those to go along with the 8 bodies that are lying about.
So, Shield, what do you think?
Well, look there, there, and another one over there. They weren't permanent, but they were sheltering in this place. Has a good overlook for the land below. Could have been a hunting party, or maybe they were waiting for something.
Maybe they were hoping for passerbys. Maybe we're dealing with less of a hero and more of a bandit.
If Frederick was indeed a worm, as Ginley implied, banditry wouldn't be out of the question. Difficult to say, but they for sure had a good view of the lands below, if they were indeed looking for something.
Yeah, there's no evidence that they... Okay, so go ahead and do a perception check or insight check. That would be Shield with the military background.
Yep. All right.
9.
Yeah. So, I mean, what you're discussing is plausible, I suppose.
Nothing certain, but they were sheltering here at the very least.
So, what killed them, though?
Shield will get closer to some of the corpses and see if anything looks more apparent than y'all. Ask a skeleton.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but don't adventurers usually wear armor like you all are?
Typically, yes. Especially if you're out here where there's lots of threats. So either they were extremely foolish or somebody took the armor off them.
They could have also been poor and desperate, though the armor being stripped feels more likely. Do you want me to roll an investigation check for...
Yeah, making an investigation check, please.
You got it. 19.
Definitely not. No evidence that they were wearing armor when they were killed. You see the wounds are slashing, stabbing wounds. It looks like they were dispatched in melee combat. Some of them are unarmed. Some of them were in a position probably killed while on their knees. some killed running away. Does not look like a much of a fight here. Only a few are armed.
Mr. World.
No, man.
Look.
Go ahead, Shield.
No. If you had a question, go ahead.
No, I just would like to do a thing, so go right ahead and finish, and then I'll do the thing after.
Right on. No, man. You've killed men before. Come have a look at this. The wounds, they're too deep. They didn't have anything to turn the blade, as it were. And these ones here, they look like they were killed on their knees. Those over there, body looks like they were trying to flee.
So were these hapless civilians who these bandits fell upon and murdered them out of what? Just lust for death?
Well, you know what they say about wolves and sheep.
Poor saps. Go ahead, Alvaro.
I have a theory on what you just said, actually. So, if you guys remember when we were talking to Gendley, he said that he knew that he thought he knew who killed Frederick because Frederick owed him some money, right? And you remember when we were down in the guy's stuff in the what's his name? I'll tell you.
Oh, are you talking about the lost and found?
Not necessarily. Barneswell. Yep, I have it right here in my notes. I just had to look. So, do you remember in Barneswell's stuff, he had other beds and things?
Yeah, there were 2 other beds.
No, there were 3 other beds.
No, there were 3 beds down there.
3 beds.
3 beds, right. And do you think that maybe because he's got like shipping routes and things like that, you know, before I met Sai, I was on a pirate ship. I wasn't I was just on the ship. And my thought is, like, looking at all of this, it's like very indicative of like raider, pirate kind of stuff. Does that make sense? So do you think that Barneswell and Frederick and Gendley were not a band of heroes, maybe a band of raider pirates, and something went wrong here? And, you know, to cover it up, Frederick's, you know, telling this heroic story. And that's where the hero carving comes from. Like, you weren't a hero like you said you were. You were a lying hack piece of crap. And now you're double dead. But maybe I'm just conspiring. But does it have strings on the board that make sense?
It does, but I have a different set of strings to put up. Barneswell. My druid had other druids, and somebody who didn't like them called them a cult. Barneswell had all that stuff about Mashulu. Are the cultists pretending to be a dragon? And I would like to go investigate that foily stuff that was on the ground.
Sure, go ahead and roll an investigation.
It's just a 10.
Yeah, it's not clear. It seems to be woven into their somebody else do an investigation check on that point.
Someone come look at this. It's weird.
I'll give her a hand. Let's see.
Yeah, not this girl.
2.
All right. Well, I have a dirty 20 for investigative things.
So, Alvira, what you start to notice are the first thing you notice is some of it is a little bit almost like feather-like, but you can start to see a pattern with these torn um, they almost make a single garment, almost like you would put a few people under a garment that is built to approximate a large creature.
It's a dragon costume. They did kill a dragon.
Yeah, but it's very crude. It might work on a grizzly bear, maybe a moose. It might be a festival type thing where you could celebrate something. It's, in no way would it be confused for an actual dragon.
That is my sentiment about this.
Elvira, you are muted.
Yes. I would like to cast See Invisibility. Now, what this does, aside from being able to see like invisible creatures and objects, you're able to see also into the ethereal plane. So ethereal creatures and objects appear ghastly, ghostly, and translucent. Elvira will reach down and touch the costume, and her eyes will go super bright, like aqua blue color that they normally are, and they'll gloss over black to like how owls would normally be, but it's just different for her. And she'll just kind of like look like she's kind of like frozen in place as she like looks out and around to see if she can see anything.
Because that's not unsettling.
It is not the most unsettling thing she does.
You're
Yeah,
kidding.
so you start to, as you sort of go into that plane and open yourself up to that plane of existence, you start to find shadows of the outlines of people, and they are certainly ethereal. They are certainly spectral, and they seem to be moving in a way that is perfectly normal. One is kneeling by the fire pit, which you can see clearly. Everyone can see. There's not been a fire there in at least a week, maybe 2 weeks. Another is looking out over the lake. Two others are holding hands, sort of spinning around, skipping. So yeah, you do see some things. They don't seem to be aware of your presence.
Have you ever eaten her poop?
So it looks like the typical everyday life of what it was before the wreaking carnage pit that it is now. Do they look like hunters? Like, is that what it looks like, a hunting party, or like soldiers, or what do they look like, Mr. World?
Well, it's tough because they're sort of spectral shadows. They're sort of the memory of a thing that you've heard before. But they don't look like, there may be a hunter or two, but there may be a baker also. There might be
Like a village, like it looks like normal people.
It's not quite as large as a village, and it's not quite as permanent as a village.
A caravanserai,
Okay.
right? That's what it's.
Is that what it's called?
That's what a caravanserai is, like a traveling caravan, like where they're continuously moving, kind of like in the new Five Ring show. That's what the hobbits are. They're a caravan, and it's just like they don't.
Oh, caravanserai.
Yeah.
First time I've heard that word. I love it. Yeah, these folks were certainly prepared to move with the seasons, probably.
Okay. All right. So I'll snap back to reality. No, I'm not a
There
rabbit.
goes gravity.
Yeah. And I'll just look around and be kind of like, for the first time, you'll be seeing Alvira be like in a more serious tone and like a more sad tone of like, these were normal people, like they, like nomads, travelers. They were just innocent people.
So Frederick slaughtered innocent travelers, and one of his party felt bad about it and hunted them down?
Well, he said his party all died in his story.
But his story was a lie.
I know, but he really believed that they were all dead. If you don't remember, he did say they were kicked off the side of the thing. Maybe these people fought back. I didn't see that. I just saw that they were normal people. A hunter or two, somebody baking some bread. I wish I could have smelt it. I bet it was rye bread. It would make a great soup bowl, some spinach and carrot soup. But
Am I the only one who's glad that we got the chance to kill him twice?
We didn't kill him the first time. We were only accused of it.
Then at least
Tomato, tomato.
second. Shield is going to point out, because I imagine Shield is standing probably closest to Naime still. Some skeletons that are not quite adult-sized. Whoever did this was a butcher. He's going to plant his glaive and offer a prayer over the bodies.
Sounds like we need to find that asshole back at the inn.
Gimli was a part of this. He will die.
I'm speculating, so we don't need to kill an innocent man, but these people were innocent. Maybe look around in their huts and things and see if there's anything in what's left of the structures. Maybe they were looking for something. I don't know.
Shield and Naime, you are accustomed to following people, or at least you've been tracking this. Is there a path showing any who left here?
I will search for tracks.
Yeah, she will do the same.
Anyone leaving the area?
Yeah, hoof prints, boots, anything that might be obvious of like an armed group.
Yeah, there are boot prints that lead down towards the lake. Yes.
Gonna follow him down to the lake until I can't follow him anymore.
Yeah, I it's hard to convey the scale, but it is a very large lake. Like, 2 miles wide. Maybe.
So they go down to like the lake edge, or
yeah, and there's a path around the lake.
And they curl around the lake.
Yeah, the path continues on around the lake. Yeah.
And that is away from the town or toward it.
So let's bring up the map. It's not going to have that level of zoom in, but I will do my best. Okay, so what you'll see here is you sort of came in right here,
Mm-hmm.
where that ridge is, and there is a path down this way, and there's a path down this way, both heading south around the lake.
And which way do the tracks go?
So the tracks come back down this way. The drunken forest is here in this area.
Mhm.
I think you can see my pointer.
Yeah.
Okay. The drunken forest is here. And then you from where you are, you can sort of see where forest has been cleared in this area. Down here, and you see evidence of sort of habitation down here.
I would like to pull out the map of the trade routes that we took from the evil man's lair
Okay.
and see if there's anything marked around this lake that relates to the way these blueprints Naime is pointing out go.
Yeah. So there's a marking for that that settlement called Small Axe Lodge.
Then I guess I know where I'm going. Shield.
Oh yes.
Because one man killing another, that's everyday business. But fucking kids, that I don't stand.
Child murder and clear cutting. I'm in.
While we're up here, Mr. World, where it's kind of like things are soggy and falling out, is there anything up here that kind of like shows evidence of why that's happening? Like, is it because of too much cutting of trees and like it's allowed snow melt, or is we haven't seen that part of it out?
In the drunken forest section, you mean?
Where they said like something was wrong and it was like more soggy than it should be.
Yeah, that's down in the drunken forest section. So do someone give me a nature check?
I'm not super good at that, actually.
Yeah.
I think either Nearest or Sai would be best for that.
Yeah. Nearest probably, but I don't think we're botting nearest to me. I think just I mean no, I don't have it. Sai, are you a naturey person or no? Oh, never mind. All right. So I guess we figured that part out on the way back. I don't know. I kind of want to help out Sai's family. He did say that was his family home, so I don't know about tree lineages and cuttings and saplings and replants and buddings and stuff. I don't know about any of that, but I do want to help out Sai's friends. It's
Yeah.
like,
My family can support itself. It takes a long time to kill a forest. It takes less time to squish a mammal. I think we should pursue this first.
Shield, make a nature check. I'm sorry, Sai. Make a nature check, please.
That's
Oh,
I was raised in a greenhouse.
Something for triple fives, Mr. World. There's gotta be something. Oh, I had a 6, not a 5. I thought it was
Listen,
5.
man, this is my neighborhood, okay? I don't know this part of town.
Yeah, those trees sure did fall over. Sure did.
And the elders spoke as if the ground is coming out from under them. Which, again, I think we should pursue the child murderers first, and hope that it all ties together, as your maps of yarn tend to suggest.
Thank you, Sai. For not making that a choice.
Okay. As you walk along the banks, it definitely is very boggy by the drunken forest. You you don't have a lot of insight into the reasons why. But it's very boggy, it's slow going. There are ground rodents loving it, badgers and gophers and beavers and all sorts of. The beavers are thriving, just absolutely thriving down here. There are little ponds in the area that are just teeming with protected areas for waterfowl. So there's a lot of positives. The trees are certainly sad, but there's positives to this environment. And you get through that area and you start to get into the area that has been clearly logged. Trees have been harvested, and you hear the familiar sounds familiar to some of you, of axe chopping, sawing, and humans sort of coordinating with each other.
Might I suggest, friends, before we get into wherever we're going, that we gather evidence to substantiate our claims before we just start slinging out your guilties to people, maybe not stab people before we see if there's women and children in this place too.
As we're getting closer to the camp, is there any like symbology or like banners or anything at all? Anything familiar to Shield?
Any like heraldry or anything?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. So there are a couple of posted signs. Things like no shooting arrows in this section. Danger. Falling trees. They're almost like how would you think about like a workplace safety type signage, and you see at the bottom of the sign the symbol for Vestment Intermodal.
I would like to knock one of the signs down.
Fantasy No Show will not be happy.
We're gonna say that you auto hit Sai and that you knock one down.
What did you say? Vestment in what?
Intermodal.
And do these guys have any kind of reputation, Shield?
They are clear-cutting the forest. I don't care about their reputation.
These ones aren't familiar to me. Shield is, however, going to keep an eye out for any guards or armed men.
Yeah, not really. It's not a military camp. It is a. The closer you get, it's a logging camp.
I guess I'm to the rest of the group. We need to get answers first before we crack skulls. And believe me, I'm ready to crack skulls.
We don't
And-
know who did it. Maybe a survivor got here.
Perhaps. But places like this, they've got someone in charge who should know what's going on. So Naime is just going to kind of call out to the camp. Where's the foreman?
The sound of sawing and chopping stops, and a few minutes later, someone walks up to you.
Are you the foreman?
Yes, I'm the foreman. What are you doing here? You here to work?
Hardly.
Well, then, what are you doing here?
We have some questions. There was a camp north of here.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
That was awfully quick. I didn't even say what happened to the camp.
Well, you did say was, and I wouldn't know anything about it.
See, that just makes me think that you do know something about it.
I wouldn't know anything about it.
Naime, inside your head, you
Mhm.
hear, should I pick him up for you?
By all means.
And then I'm just going to reach a vine around and grab him by the ankles and hang him upside down in front of you.
Now, what?
Now,
Suddenly, you see probably 10 to 12 loggers. 4 of them put down that big double-sided saw and pick up axes, and they start walking towards all of you.
you call off your men and we can have a civil conversation. Otherwise,
Now,
things are going to get a little messy.
You came here. Get back to work. Operations must continue.
Good boy. Now, as
There's
I
no
was saying,
need for hostilities. You understand?
I'm not being hostile yet.
so perhaps you will let me finish. North of here, there was a camp, and a few families were stricken from this plane of existence. And the tracks led here. Now, I'm not saying that you or any of your fine men here had anything to do with it, but someone did. If you could help us in that search, it would go a long way.
I wouldn't know anything about that. And neither would my men.
So who would? Because their boot prints came here from there.
Listen,
Mr. World, I got a 23 insight to see if he's being deceptive in that statement.
Not being deceptive. And he continues. Now, after every winter, we do outsource some protection and advanced proactive safe relocation so that our men and our operations can continue safely here at Restoria Logging Company. We have the exclusive contract here, so you are here illegally. We have legal documentation that we are to be here on behalf of Vestment Intermodal, and we have the rights to log in this space. Now, as part of our contract, we have to be provided a safe working environment, and safety is our top priority. And every spring, before we come out here, we are assured that we will be safe from attack, whether it be by the bears or by the wolves or by anything else nefarious and dangerous that might put our operations at and our people at risk. You understand?
Who gives your protection?
I wouldn't know anything about that. It is in the contract that we are to be safe.
Are you telling me that you've never met anyone who's been on security detail for you?
I get a letter that says that it is safe for us to return after winter to the camp and begin anew our operations, and our operations must continue. I have metrics. I have things I need to deliver. Every day I need to send 600 freshly logged logs down to the port. That's what I have to do. Now, to do that, I can't do it if I'm losing men and it's unsafe. And those wolves out there, I assure you, these grizzly bears, they wake up in the spring and they will kill us. And we're not.
Who is your contract officer?
Well, I don't have an officer. I get a letter and I get payment.
Well,
from
someone gives you a goddamn letter.
the company, Vestment Intermodal. My company, Restoria Logging, has the exclusive contract for this location.
If we
Well-
put you down, will you bring us a letter?
I can show you the whole contract, fine print and all.
Sigh, would you kindly?
I sigh very loudly before putting him down.
Get a letter. Get the whole contract.
Inside Naime's head, you hear, "You really want to bring my druid here, or at least my gardener, to teach him sustainable practices."
I will raise my finger, just like, hold on.
Okay, he comes back fully signed, co-signed in triplicate contract, and it is exactly what he said he had.
And nowhere
Exclusive logging rights to this entire Heraldus Lake region.
and nowhere in it like talks about like who's contracted for security or anything like that.
No, there are provisions for safety. There are provisions that a safe work environment free from hazards of the wild. Yeah, it's essentially exactly what he said.
Oh, man.
Are there any particular names on any of these documents? Any signed names, or is it just the foreman's own?
The foreman's name is what is his name? Hold on. I do have a name. Did I forget the name? Yes. It's here. Manuel. Gosh, I lost it. It's here somewhere. Toparuli. Manuel Toparuli. That's his name.
And who else signed it?
So there is a investment intermodal officer named Kristaps Operandi.
Hey, Shield. Do you see a contract? I don't see a contract. And I'm going to destroy it.
Okay.
Elvira, you're very good with fire.
Yes, but I am not very good with breaking legally binding contracts, and I detest this action. So I will not be providing the flame to do such.
She's
Contract.
really a goody two-shoes at weird times.
I prefer the term goody two feathers, thank you very much. But I did say I didn't want to come in guns blazing before we even got here. So if you would put the man down or leave the man alone, we have other things to figure out.
I didn't hurt him. I just helped his circulation.
I know, but it's just not friendly practice to turn folks upside down and then demand information out of them. Sigh, I 9 times out of 10 do not get irritated with your choices when you make them, but this was just one that rubbed my feathers the wrong way.
I'm sorry. I did ask Naime for permission.
What is
Right.
not
You put him down?
Oh, I put him down in order to get the contract. So
Okay.
he's been down.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Right.
So
Yeah.
he assures you that there is multiple copies of the contract, including the primary copy registered in the mayor's office in Astoria, and tearing up the contract really means nothing, and that operations must continue.
Well,
Damn bureaucracy.
it actually means that you don't have a copy on hand and you're going to need one before you can resume operations.
Offers to go to the mayor with you and hash it out.
Unless you're going to come up with the information that we've been asking for, I'm not going anywhere with you.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
How about Manuel or Kristaps? Would you happen to know where they are?
He is Manuel.
I've never met Kristaps. He's not in Astoria. We got this offer. I know that my contract comes. It gets renewed. If I meet my metrics every year, I get a renewal notice and I get my payment. And I am an upstanding citizen, and I put that money right back into our community. And that is the only way we are going to make this life better for our children here on this continent.
What about their children? And pointing up to the side.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
I'm literally just going to point at all of these stumps that they have yet to pull out and all the other stuff. I'm like, seriously?
We don't mind sharing, but you could take. You could. It's. There are. It can be done better.
Well, you should take that up with Kristaps. If he would reduce my
He doesn't take it up with you.
metrics,
You could meet your metrics. You don't have to kill the teenagers.
well, do you now you're trying to engage me in a philosophical argument on which you have the upper hand and I am at a disadvantage.
And there's a problem with that?
It's
Well-
your job to know this shit.
It is my job to deliver 600 logs each day.
Jesus.
How else are we going to build?
I didn't say no wood. I said hire a druid to tell you which wood to take.
Well, I fancy myself as a tree lover. I do. And I don't knock down all the trees. There's the odd tree that I just think is such a specimen that I say, no, we're not going to cut that one.
I'm a fan of organized gardening as well, but this, you are taking out an entire forest. What happens when you run out of trees?
We'll never run out of trees. Look at this place.
The trees up the hill are already washing away.
Well, I wouldn't know anything about that.
You don't know much about anything, do you?
I know what my metrics are, and I intend to meet them.
If I could spit, I would spit on your face.
Let me take care of that for you. And I shall do so.
Ooh, okay, make an intimidation check.
Which one of us?
Daime.
Okay. Mm-mm. Not much. 5.
I need to get back to work. You have a blessed day. May Mushulu be with you. Turns around and leaves.
You have the day that you deserve.
Wait. Once he's gone. Did he say Moshulu?
He did.
Like that damn song in the basement?
Yeah. Elvira, I know you're mad at me, but have you heard of Mushulu before?
Not from aside when we were reading about it in the basement of the inn.
Yeah. What? Oh, sorry, just heard myself echo through somebody's headset. Would Shield know anything about Mushulu either?
No, we didn't. I think we history checked it before and nobody recalled Mushulu.
Okay, good. Yeah, all right.
Someone make a perception check.
Sure. Why not? Trade out my die.
I'm pretty good
I
at
got a 21.
not very good at
Much better than me, but I've got a 14.
Mm-hmm. So, in between sawing and axe work, they take a short break, and you hear faintly from where the sort of housing of the camp is. So there are log houses set up that are semi-permanent, fairly permanent, where they prepare the logs and do a quick cleaning of the limbs and prepping to be sent downriver. And from there, you hear just the faintest, uh, all your tentacles won't let go of me. All your tentacles won't let go of me. All your tentacles won't let go of me.
That's the fucking chorus.
Does that mean that we're going into that building?
I don't. Yes, I don't. What do you think, Shield?
If they'll let us in, it's worth a look.
I think, if nothing else, we need someone to answer who this Mashulu person, creature thing is.
I wonder if we could find a book in a library back at Astoria.
Why not just go to one of their worshippers?
Well,
They don't seem to want to talk. And I
yeah,
don't imagine
you really
take that out
nice.
right.
Why would they want to tell you anything?
You walk into camp though, and everyone's very nice. And it's not organized. When you hear this, the break is over, the sawing and the axe sounds continue. You see, it's like there are children playing. People have moved here for the the non-winter months, and it's like a little sort of like just a casual little song that is being sung by the children around.
Actually, that's actually a good point. Hey, Allie?
Yes?
Hi.
Is that a sword?
Yeah, it is.
Oh my gosh, can I touch it?
It's probably a little dangerous to do so.
Is it heavy?
It is.
Is
very
it sharp?
heavy. Very sharp. Just like I think your mind is. Tell me, I heard you singing a little bit.
Uh-huh.
What were you singing about?
All your tentacles won't let go of me. All your tentacles won't let go of me.
Yeah. Where'd you learn that song?
Everybody knows that song. What?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know it. Do you know where it comes from?
Everywhere. It's like the song. Like there's that and the happy birthday song.
Okay. All right. Do you know, like, you know the whole song, right?
I'm learning the song.
Okay.
I don't know.
Isn't that the song about Mashulu? Yeah.
Mashulu, my heart belongs to you.
Do you know who Mashulu is?
Mashulu. No, I don't.
That's a shame.
While we're kind of walking through the unorganized part of camp, are there any like icons or like carvings?
Not really.
And yeah,
Is there a chapel?
No.
Okay.
It's like a summer logging camp. It really is.
All right. Well, I'm going back to town then. Well, let's go back and figure the thing out with your
You hear
trees.
her sing. You hear her sing one of the verses. I used to believe, now I know. Your tentacles won't let me go. Mushulu, my heart belongs to you. Mushulu. And she does the deep Mushulu part. But there's no evidence that
Perhaps
that
we
there's
should
any
walk
depth to it.
the rest of the way around the lake.
It would take you a few days. You could do that.
Or
It would take us too long, and whoever killed those people are long gone, and
yeah,
there seems to be nothing, no clues, no leads, because nobody seems to know anything about anything.
I don't
So-
like
What?
I don't like that.
Neither do I. I'm fucking pissed. Let's go figure out the thing with your trees.
Most of the time, when people don't know anything about anything, they know a lot of things about something. And I think we need to go to a library, if I'm being honest.
That's fair. Can we look at the trees first? Since they're here?
I don't know much about gardening, but sure.
Which trees are we talking about?
The falling
Yeah,
ones.
The drowned ones.
Okay. Go ahead and make a nature check.
We could also try to talk to our formerly friendly barkeep if they'll let us talk to him in jail.
Be back at the town.
Yeah, whenever we head back that way.
If we go back to the town, we have the final verse that we needed to get into the vault.
Actually, we had all of those words already. Bed number 2 said deeps in the depths of my soul. Bed number 3 said current so strong and so cold. Bed number 1 said Mushulu, my heart belongs to you. And then we found on the thing, it said on the map in the food chain, it said we crawl through the muck and the mire, drowning all of those thoughts of desire, all are slaves to you. And then whenever you were digging through the pile of lost things, there was a ceramic egg that had tentacles on it. And on it said, all of your tentacles won't let go of me, which is what the small, tiny humanling was just singing, all of your tentacles won't let go of me. And then we also found a note on the piano that said chorus, verse, verse.
But we
he-
didn't know what the chorus sounded like. Now we do.
But we did.
No, because that's why we couldn't get into it, because the piano stopped playing it.
That's right.
Didn't that kid just sing a new verse? The one about I used to believe, but now I know? I don't remember those words from before.
I used to believe, now I know. Your tentacles won't let me go. Mushulu, my heart belongs to you. Mushulu.
That might help. I don't have those words from before, but maybe I was just not doing it well?
That may be the last third of the combination because we did get 2/3 of the combination to pop open, so that may be the verse that we needed. We could try it when we go back. There may be some information on Mushulu in there, so
Yeah, seems like a good angle.
I still think Moshulu's from the ocean because of the water words, and there was that map of ocean things. But I don't know anything about the ocean.
it's big, it's blue, and it's dangerous, and everything that lives in it wants to kill you.
That fits with what we know about Moshulu so far. Everyone seems to want to kill someone who keeps talking about them.
Whenever we went into port one time in the city, I can't really remember the name of it. It was something like hot lava or cold lava. I don't know, something lava. And we went into port and they were serving this dish and it had tentacles in it. And they said it was octopus, but it tasted like squid. But still, there were tentacles, and that was from the ocean. So, I mean, that checks out your line of thinking. Tentacles, ocean, big scary things. It kind of really sucked.
And I'm going to pull out from my branches the map of the food chain and go, plus, something is supposed to fit up here. Something that eats the whales. I don't know what eats whales. I only eat sunlight.
Maybe Mushulu eats whales.
That would fit, maybe? I don't know. But we need to go learn about Moshulu.
Yeah, so let's go to the drunken forest first.
Well, but the forest, I mean, time kind of like moves different for trees, right? So that could wait.
It does. I was just thinking on the way back because I don't know what's causing the heat. If the land is melting, something is causing heat.
Well, maybe there's something really big in the lake.
You didn't get any evidence of heat when you walk through. Go ahead and do a nature check.
Not very naturey for a bird.
I grew up in a greenhouse.
I am a bird from a pirate ship.
Yeah, you look there, and there sure are falling over trees. Sure
Yeah.
are.
Well, maybe it's just what do they call it? Warming or something like that. You know, where it starts to melt, the snow melt from the mountains. Because I don't know, what do they call it? You know, like in your greenhouse, you know, the heat and natural stuff in there, the gases.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh
Maybe this
no.
is like two things, right? Like, what do they call it? A purple trout when there's like two things they're trying to throw you off the trail or something. Is it a purple trout they call it?
Yes, it's a purple trout for sure.
I think purple trout is the local term for it.
Oh.
I always called it a will-o'-the-wisp.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, well, so maybe the forest, maybe this is a purple trout, right? Maybe it's like a socioeconomic platform thing that we should worry about when it comes up to the next elections for mayor and how they're really deforesting around here. And it's not really something we could fix in the moment, but we could investigate a possible cult in deep sea octopus, tentacly, mushulu things. Very much we could stop this.
Okay. But
well, because I mean, I really do want to help your family.
I think they're connected because the people cutting down the forest are singing about Moshulu. And if you cut down the trees, the land goes away.
But do you think it's the same thing, though? Because, yeah, they're cutting stuff down, But do you think that's what's making the rest of the trees drunk
No.
because it's extra soggy? That's really the problem, where it's extra soggy and your friends and your distant cousins are drunk, right? Because I really don't think the chopping of your other cousins, which I'm really sorry your cousins are being murdered, it's really unjust when you think about it that way. But I don't think that they're connected.
I don't
So
really
it's
mind the occasional.
both accounts.
It's just the clear cutting that's uncalled for. That's like if trees decided to grow vines and tear down every house in a town.
Well, I've seen them do it.
Look, just because kudzu has no manners doesn't mean the rest of us are like that.
Yeah, it's really tragic, isn't it?
We don't like kudzu either.
No, it infests everything. It's like the most parasitic of weeds in the backyard.
And it kills us, and it moves too fast even by my standards.
Well, I'm just saying that I do want to help your cousins. I just think that that bit of information is a purple trout to our current trajectory of plotted investigation points. It doesn't really match up with my yarn wall, you know?
Can we keep it in a pin on the side of your yarn wall for when we find the string?
Yeah, a big I will make a big yarn leaf that is the color of the setting sun and stick it in my strings that I have been stretching across your branches to make my yarn wall. Apologies.
It's okay, it hurts less than the fire spells you used to play with.
I've been practicing my knot work. I learned a thing or two from hanging out with pirates.
Arr. And on that note, we say adieu, me mateys. Next week, back on the Chronicles.